So I got these yokes for Alex's Power Wagon. The one on the right has the proper diameter here, and you can see how this one is larger, but this one actually fits the output shaft. So we're just gonna have to turn down this one here on the left to match the outer diameter opening of this one on here on the right.
You tell how we're gonna get a hold of it.
So the dilemma that we were trying to figure out is how are we gonna hold this thing, which is an odd shape over here in the lathe. Roger's gonna surface down the top of it in the center part and get this thing.
Try.
Yeah.
See how hard this stuff really is.
That's true. Then we can get a different chuck on the lathe and it should hold it better. Roger's shop is always something to see, isn't it? All these engines, Chevy. And there's something amazing hiding over here, boys and girls. I don't know if you guys may or may not know an idea that we've been popping through, but this right here is a 440, forged steel 440 crankshaft. And what we actually did was we sent it out and we had it turned down to fit the size of the main journals of a 383. Because you know what? I wanted to stroke out Hefty's 383 and make it a 426, so we're gonna do that. That crankshaft right there is a 440 crank. We're gonna go into 383, and that's gonna turn it into a 426 when you math it all out. So how freaking cool is that? What flavor is it?
Yes, it's cutting oil.
Oh wow! What are you doing? Get the barbecue going.
Yeah, that'll look make you slippery kind of guy.
Yeah, I'll make it good on the way out too.
Yeah, I'll do that up to you.
Okay, the master has turned down the yoke a bit, so now I can put a different chuck on there, and we should be able to get this thing spun around that lathe and surface it the way we want.
Who knows?
This is how TikToks are made.
Spiral. So you adjust one, you're adjusting them all. That other one, each one of them is individual. So if you got something that's wider one way than the other way, you put them in there and dial them in until you get it running through, and then away you go.
Sure.
I got a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, French will send us some money, huh?
That's right. I think that's the only kind of mustard there.
Sure it is. Look at that thing cut.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Put the light primer on to the dark.
might be the one.
But you just hammer it will be.
Almost. Money. Yep. So if you guys haven't figured out already, we're obviously having a chuck that Roger's machining. We need to machine material off up to here and bring the diameter, outside diameter out of this yoke to match the smaller diameter of this one here. So this aluminum piece here is a tapered pipe plug, and as you tighten it in the middle, the fastener will then expand out those four parts of the chuck, and then what that's going to do is actually, the aluminum is softer than the steel, and it's going to create the splines. Basically, it'll mash the splines imprints into the aluminum, so this way it'll actually keep this from spinning relative to the aluminum. Okay, we're cutting her down. 1.80 inches out of diameter. Getting close to 180. Sweet. Okay, and there she is. What can I say? Roger's the man. We got this thing turned down to the 1.80 diameter, which basically the problem, we need this to slip over the diameter of the seal on the transfer case. Otherwise, this was butting up against the seal and it was going to break the seal. So I'll show you that when we get home. Now the question, does it fit? Let's see. Back at the house with the yoke, Roger turned it down to the perfect diameter that we needed. It should slip right onto the transfer case, nice and easy, and not hurt that seal. Splines are aligned and ready. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And you can see that the seal is sealing against the body here of the actual yoke, but it's not so much that it's causing an issue where it's pushing down and giving you some extra stress on the seal, and that was kind of a problem before. You can also see that the shoulder that he left on here does not contact the seal when it's fully seated. You can hear it seat fully down there. There's still room, so it's not touching the seal at all. We'll get this whole combination of washers and this nut cleaned up and degreased, and then we'll spray some paint on this thing, and she's good to go. And as a comparison, here's one that came with it as well, and you can see how much we had to turn down that outer diameter of this part of it. So this truck came to us with a whole bunch of random parts, and I did a little bit of research online. I didn't quite find any yokes readily available, and since we got Roger readily available, why not just machine the one that we know will fit and make it work? So, it's too easy when you've got that access right there. Just make it work on your own. Okay guys, remember when you're at home spraying paint on your little parts and stuff, always plug your holes, threaded holes like this. Took a little bit of masking tape, rolled it up. They make little rubber nubs you can stick in there too. There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. Just remember, plug those holes so this way it doesn't get all gummed up when you re-put in your fasteners. So we decided we want to try and get Alex's Power Wagon out to the car show coming up here in a few weeks, and you know what? It's a couple of things left to do to get it running, but honestly, we think we can do it. We already know the 383 and it runs. It's a matter of all the auxiliary stuff like brakes, running brake lines, fuel tank, fuel lines, and then we had done a little bit of machining, as you guys saw, with this output shaft yoke. The drive shafts are already balanced and they're ready to go. It's getting the alternator on there, power steering pump, radiator hoses, some of little things here and there. And there's an issue with starting it as well, where it doesn't want to go off the key. So we got to figure that one out. And we also have to figure out why on the column it doesn't want to actually shift into gear. So there's a couple of little things here and there, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we can figure out all these little gremlins, and we'll have this thing out at the car show here in just a few weeks and on the road and driving around and looking good. All right, back over here on Alex's 78 Power Wagon. We're trying to get it to this car show here in a few weeks, and there's a lot of loose ends to tie up to make it happen. Nothing critically hard, but still a lot of unknowns. This is not the correct gas tank. These trucks would have had a driver's side, like 30-gallon, kind of long, rectangular molded plastic tank. They're super hard to find though. Out comes the Dana 60. You never get this to break free of the brake line, and what's going to happen is it's going to start twisting the brake line, and then it'll just the drums, but you're not so much drag on them that it's actually making it almost impossible to. All right, we'll hit these with one more wash because there's a little bit of gear oil still left inside the center, and then hit them with a sandblaster.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Took a minute to do. Next round of stuff up right now.